All right. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Healthier Home. Here we are to welcome Aaron and Ken back again. And today we're going to be talking about planting, making your food at home. Now, a lot of us are staying home these days, and staying home means, of course, that you have to eat. And, a lot of people are used to going out to restaurants. I got to say, like, going out, just like, those people, you guys know them. There's those people that just eat every meal out. No, they just say, what do they say? I don't cook, right?
Right.
And that's their excuse. Well, now they have no excuse unless they're just getting takeout every single day and they just go to the take-up window, which is good. Don't get me wrong. We want to support our local businesses. But if you can make your own food, you can. And today we're going to tell you how to do it, how to grow your own food safely, pesticide-free. And we have our Green Thumb resident expert, Aaron Spear, joining us. So, Aaron, fill us in. You have a couple tips for us about keeping your garden pesticide-free. I'm looking forward to learning this. I mean, you know me, I'm Lean Green Dad, and I need to know how to do this because I hear mixed things. Some people say, oh, you have to use pesticides, nothing's truly organic, or, oh, if there were no pesticides, there would be no oranges because the orange bug would have wiped them out over so fill me in. And I'm going to share this to my Lean Green Dad page while we're talking about this.
All right. Well, quick background. My husband works in agriculture, so it's kind of been a natural thing for us to create our own home garden, which we've been doing for, like 6 years now. And I was a little intimidated at first because I had never really gardened as a kid. And growing my own food. Oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? This is going to be an interesting experience. And, it ended up being a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And, it requires a lot of time and attention, but it is so worth it. Particularly with my youngest, a lot of her first baby foods was foods that I grew in my backyard, which how cool is that?
Very cool.
And, it's really empowering to be able to grow your own food and know that, what's sustaining you is something that you grew from seeds and, you're now serving on your dinner table. And, it's definitely been some trial and error along the last few years to figure out what really works for us and, find out like what we like to grow, what we don't like to grow, what's easier to grow, what's a little bit harder to grow. And, we've really kind of the last couple of years nailed it down into a pretty successful home garden. Although I am nothing compared to my next door neighbor who his garden looks like something out of a textbook. It's amazing. I strive to be like him.
She's just trying to one up you. That's ridiculous. That's crazy down. That's amazing.
The American way. You got to one up your neighbors.
I guess so. But what's the main food that you have found is like, oh man, these are so easy to grow. These are like so amazing. Like these are the ones.
My favorites are zucchini and green beans. They're just so easy to grow. They produce massive quantities. You can get more than one harvest out of them, particularly with zucchini. And I love how versatile zucchini can be. And I think that's why
I'm going to show this. Favorite. I'm going to show this picture.
Look at those zucchini.
Is that your little person?
Yes, that's Bailey. She is 4 now. So that's from 2 years ago. And yeah, we've grown some massive zucchini. That's the other thing with zucchini. If you have a little one in your garden, you're like, I'll give it a few more days till it's the right size. And then you go out there 4 days later and you have a 5-pound zucchini. You can get a lot of food from those.
Crazy. Yeah, look at this. I mean, it's amazing.
So these are a little more modest. These zucchini.
Yeah, these are a bit more manageable. These are single dinner size zucchini. But, this was one harvesting of green beans for us. And there's probably 12 pounds in those 3 white bags. You just get so many. And, we'll roast some for dinner. We'll can some. We give a lot away to our neighbors because there's just so many. My husband has this problem with thinking that he always needs to plant more. And I tried to explain to him, we're a family of 4. We can only eat so many vegetables, but
Of course.
you know, every year our garden seems to get a little bit bigger.
No, it's incredible. I mean, I'm going to show another couple pictures here. I mean, this is the real deal. Like, this is incredible. Look at this.
Yeah, these are container gardens, and it's a way to make home gardening accessible for people that live in a more urban area. You know, I'm lucky. I live in a, you know, fairly rural town in northern Illinois where we have like the best soil in the world. But this is something that is achievable for people anywhere. You don't have to have a lot of land to be able to do this. And, you know, container gardening has really kind of taken off the last few years, and people are really starting to become interested in being able to plant their own foods. And, you know, there's so many different vegetables that you can, and fruits for that matter too, that you can plant in a container and get a really nice little harvest out of. And I love that. I love that this is something that's becoming accessible for a wider variety of people. And I love that people are becoming more interested in growing their own food. You know, the hydroponic aero gardens and stuff like that are becoming a huge thing. And obviously that's kind of the fancier end of things, but I mean, you can grow a garden out of a 5-gallon pail and have some awesome fresh vegetables at home.
That's amazing. So you know, talk to me about these tips, because I'm sure there's a soil tip and maybe a water tip and like a, you know, maintenance tip, but how do we do this? Like somebody that doesn't have a super green thumb like me, and I know that sounds crazy, right? Because I am lean green dad, but like I don't grow my own veggies. I rely on the grocery store for that. I would love to try it, but every time I try to grow something, I kill it. And so I don't want to murder plants. So I have to be very careful. But talk to me. What can I do? I'm a beginner. You know, my wife is not in agriculture, so fill me in. Let me know what I could do.
So a few tips that have worked for us, which also help to minimize or eliminate the need for pesticides and stuff like that. Plant in short rows, because it makes it easier to weed and upkeep. A lot of people end up doing these super long rows of vegetables, and it's a lot harder to maintain, you know, the garden soil around it and get rid of all the weeds and stuff. But if you have it in short, more manageable rows, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain, and you're going to have a better harvest that way. And going back to what I said with my husband always wanting more, plan for a larger area than you originally think you're going to need, because part of gardening is these plants take up a fair amount of space, especially when, you know, planted directly into the soil. Obviously, container gardens have a more limited spatial range, but when you're planting an actual garden in the ground, it's going to take up more room than you think, particularly vegetables like squash that grow on vines, and zucchini and stuff like that. They grow fairly large plants, so be prepared for that. Vegetables like green beans and peas, those tend to not need as much room to grow. There's different kinds, obviously, but you know, they're the ones that we've always grown are bush beans, and it grows just in kind of like a nice little bush, and you get your, you know, all these different beans on each individual plant, and those don't take up as much room. And then one of the other tips that my husband wanted to throw in here was to work the ground multiple times to keep the weeds down. Obviously, you want to turn that soil up and before you plant your original garden, but if you turn it more than once, it's going to help keep your weeds down over time, because it's aerating the soil a different way, and it's just going to give you a lot better soil to work with than if you just kind of toss things around a little bit and go ahead and plant stuff. Once your plants are tall enough, it's actually going to help keep down your weeds, because it's going to shade that area in between, and it's going to help decrease the weed growth in between your rows. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Ken, do you have experience with this? Have you done this before?
Yeah, and I mean, there's some things along those lines of non-pesticidal things you can do. which will help. Nature's an ecosystem, and if you've got a garden, one of the chief culprits in the garden are aphids. Aphids like to chew on leafy greens, and kind of like me. Maybe I was an aphid in another life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like leafy greens. But one of the things you can do to knock that down, ladybugs. Ladybugs are your little gardeners in your own garden, and all you got to do is make that a hospitable environment for them. Mulch is a big thing because it'll help them winter over the year. But if you've got aphids and you're noticing that, if you put marigold down, marigold or mint, you're creating the nectar for them to reproduce, and it's a very favorable plant for them. So if they've got a food source and they've got something like, there's a bunch of plantings, but marigolds are a good one. Even dandelions are something that'll keep ladybugs around. And I noticed this just in my garden. I would see hundreds of ladybugs around my house, which was a good sign, because if I was having aphids, the ladybugs got a food source. And if I had the marigolds, which I had in flowers, I was making a perfect little ecosystem for them to hang around and knock those guys down. So that's a super easy one. Another one is actually, this is a great one. This was a lady friend who taught me this, but sunflowers. Sunflowers are great for a variety of reasons. Number one, they actually create sunflower seeds, and you can eat them. But also birds love sunflower seeds. And if you've got birds hanging around those sunflower seeds, they're also going to eat those pests that are, hanging around your garden, doing things that we don't want them to do. So it's an ecosystem that you're balancing. Your aphids are kind of the enemy here, because they're gonna do what they do. But without a check in nature, which could be the ladybug or could be the sunflowers, you're gonna not give the aphid its just due. You can use nature to combat nature a little bit.
I love it.
Let me just go on. There's one hidden benefit true of sunflower seeds too. Sunflower is kind of like the caretaker of soil. It pulls up, it draws out toxins. So heavy metals, whether it's zinc or whether it's lead, arsenic, sunflower plants will draw that out of the soil, which makes a healthier garden. Just something to keep in mind. And also with the sunflowers, get a bird bath out there, because if you're going to have birds around, they're going to want to be around an area where they've got access to water. So if you get the seeds, you got the water, the birds are happy, you got the marigolds and some mint, you'll knock down some of those pests that are attacking your garden, and you'll do it without pesticides.
I love it. Yeah, you just get a couple bouncers, sunflowers and ladybugs. Can you see a ladybug bouncer be like, "What are you doing over here?" You know what I'm saying? That's perfect. I love it.
Now each this is just interesting information, I guess, but each ladybug eats about 50 aphids a day. So when you've got hundreds of them around, they're doing their due to get rid of those aphids.
Heck yeah, that's crazy.
So they're not just sweet little bugs. I mean, everybody used to have a ladybug crawling. I mean, just kind of, but those are actually nature's helper. They're helping you with your garden.
I love it. They're so nice. Well, Aaron, any other things before we go? This is a quick one, but you helped us out a lot. These tips are incredible, people. These tips are incredible.
I'd like Aaron to ask this, her and her husband, how much time do you spend a week in that garden? I mean, I know you plant them, and then how much maintenance? That's what somebody might need to know.
I mean, it can vary depending on weather, because obviously, if it's drier and you're going to have to water, it's going to take a bit more time. We have a pretty decent sized garden, and we usually spend a couple of hours on the weekend really going through and weeding, checking on it a couple times a week, especially once you start getting into your harvest. You want to keep an eye on it every couple of days, otherwise you end up with 8-pound zucchinis. But I guess the only thing I would really add is don't be afraid to try. I before I started gardening, I was pretty apprehensive about it, and now I really get a lot of joy out of producing my own food, and I think a lot of other people will find that's true for them as well.
Love it.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid, people. Use that green thumb. Turn that red thumb into a green thumb. My thumb, that would be a thumb full of blood. That's what that was. There's blood in everyone's thumb. So yeah. Hey, I'm going to give it a shot. I might have to get some cliff notes, from Aaron to guide me, but I'm sure I could do it. And you never know. I'll give it a shot. But hey, everybody, listen, thanks for watching. If you care about your plants and your food as much as you care about cleaning your own house, you've got to head over to healthierhomeproducts.com. Check them out. They've got the best friendliest, safest, most powerful cleaning products on the planet. You could spray them right in your face and you'd be totally fine. But no, listen, if you want to clean every surface in your house, there's no place to go except healthierhomeproducts.com. Look up the Eco Excellence Bundle. We just launched it. You can clean your entire house like so easily. You know, people are cleaning their walls all across the United States, and you should get in on it. So go check them out, healthierhomeproducts.com. Even if you don't buy anything, it's all good. Go check out the guide for how to make your own non-toxic cleaners, how to keep your house safe and clean for you and your family, your pets, your loved ones, everyone. So until next time, guys, this is us from Healthier Home Family and Healthier Home, just saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Same time, 4:30 Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,